The Global Community Conversation, a Various Fields series special, Various Dialogues.
Welcome one and all, I am Lex.
I'm Hazel Fields II.
And I'm Trey. What's up, interwebs? How you feeling?
And this is Various Fields with a very special guest, Dexter Wolfe. Thank you.
Apparently I'm a very special Dex. All the rest of the decks are going to have to eat it.
Guys, I just want to let you know, all the viewers out there, we're very excited to have Dexter Wolfe on our show because I've known Dexter Wolfe for a bit now, introduced to the fam, and it's fun because I think we've already learned to vibe very, very quickly.
Right.
I'm going to let all the guests out there know we normally have a topic that we land on, and in this case, we're just going to talk about anything and everything. But with the first case being, Dex, tell the people a little bit about yourself. All that jazz.
Hello, I'm Dexter Wolfe. I am a transplant from New York City. I'm from the Bronx, Boogie Down. I spent a lot of my years caring about really two things: how and why people think and do the way they do, and how and why machines think and do the way they do.
Machines.
So my background is in counseling and machine learning. I'm currently in cybersecurity, and I volunteer counsel at the VA when I can. I'm a father of two. Little boy is 13, a little girl is 11, who, if you come to Troy, you'll see her with me regularly. And I'm really just excited to be here. I've seen the podcast, I met Lex. He said he had a podcast, and I was like, I'm in. Then I actually saw it. I was like, I should actually figure out what the topic is. Then I saw it, I was like, oh, that family is great. I could have been raised with them. I'm definitely in.
Thank you so much, man.
No, we're excited to have, and I think that was the main thing. I keep saying this because I'm not sure what it's called, pun, just alliteration, what the case is. We always vibe with the Dex and Lex kind of combo name, which is really cool. Before we get straight into your topics, you already mentioned something that immediately gave me an idea of what we could talk about, which is AI, because you talk about how machines think, and that's a whole. We've had that conversation on this thing before, and there's so many places this can go. But what I would like to do, since we're doing this, just in general. What are small things that are on your guys' mind in general, either directly that you want to talk about with Dex in terms of nerdy stuff, or
well, we can start with AI because that the thing you brought up and put it in my mind. I've become increasingly more terrified of what's happening with AI because since we had the conversation, it's become even better.
Okay. I appreciate everyone being politically correct, but at this moment, I don't care. Tell me, what side of the robot revolution are you on?
So I didn't coin this phrase. I got it from an author named Mollick, who wrote a very good book for anybody at any level of technical expertise called Co-Intelligence. I talk about it a lot because it's not technical. He is a professor at Wharton who teaches business, and how people think is what drives business. That's how you get the money.
Right. Okay.
Whether you want to control how they think, you want to get aligned with how they think, you want to nudge them left or right, and that's a organizational psychology conversation we can have. It's important to understand how people think, and so that's how he got into it. He coined the terms true cyborg. I am in favor of a true cyborg, and what that means is if you picture AI as your co-pilot, then the job is it's going to take up mundane tasks for you while you focus on the higher thinking. It's also going to tell you the truth when oppositional AI will tell you something different. And it's trained by you and not someone else. And so the goal is that it becomes sort of your picture like the Green Lantern ring. Yeah. It's your extension and your shield simultaneously, because corporate AI would tell you something different. Military AI would tell you something different. But Lex AI is designed to keep you safe, and also enhance your world. So that's how we're gonna. When it comes to the workplace, when it comes to education, when it comes to any of the things that we're commonly doing, it's gonna be the ideal scenario. It's your co-pilot because it also equals the playing field out.
I like that a lot.
Okay.
I like that.
I hear you, Dex, but it still sounds like the beginning of every sci-fi thriller I've ever seen that dealt with AI. See, my caution is that two things. Number one, the only thing I think AI can't do in its fullness is imagine.
Right.
You know, and then I think what happens is as it gets better, man gets lazier in terms of what he wants to create. We now believe that AI is creating something, and indeed it does. But will that now make us give up and say, that's creation, and I don't have to imagine anymore? Now,
They take their imagination.
you know, so I'm a little nervous because I believe one day it's going to say no. You know?
I shan't.
I can't say. So what I think would the scary and I think the assuaging part of that is it's not true AI yet.
Right.
That's the deal. It's really, really impressive machine learning.
Yeah.
So a little extra about the background is in my undergrad, my computer science was I was a psychology major, forensic psychology, and interviewing specifically how people think and how they talk. And then machine learning was the minor. In grad school, I inverted it. It's cyber forensics, again with a concentration in artificial intelligence, and then underneath it was counseling psychology.
Wow.
It's really just aggregating information, and why it is able to, I won't say fool us, but make us feel more comfortable is it's trying to predict the next third word. So there's some people that have what they call verbal stems, and you'll run to these people that will finish your sentence for you.
Yes.
Because their brain is like, it's with you. They're locked in. They're not trying to talk over you. They're locked in with what you're saying, and they say that last word. They say it with you. That's all AI currently actually does. You put in enough information, and it predicts the next second or third thing that it thinks you want. And so the better it is at that, the more it seems like a conversation. There's people trying to use it as a therapist, which is really just a quickly built echo chamber.
Right.
And all these other, I'm just going to tell you everything that you told me what I am. And so, again, Ethan Mollick, I've had trouble teaching people how to prompt. And one of the things that Ethan Mollick breaks it down is like, people will keep prompting badly because you're telling it what you need. Right. But before you say that, you have to say who it is.
Right.
So you have to tell the AI, you are Sigmund Freud.
Right.
And I am trying to compare all of the stages of development from your time with all of the stages of development currently in existence now. I need the overlap. Please compare and contrast because I need it for a speech now. Now you've given it a framework to be, then you've given it something to do. And why it won't say no is it doesn't know who it is yet. So this is why you need a co-pilot. Because the AI that would say no, you don't know. It's someone else's co-pilot. It's the NYPD's AI is knocking on the door. You want to say, hey, listen, I'm not who you're looking for. Your AI will say that. That AI will say, no, I've been taught that you are. I am a law enforcement simulator that says you are.
Oh my God,
That's the AI that will say no. But the thing is, so Jared Diamond wrote a book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. And he said, society doesn't move forward unless one of those three things happens. Steel is innovation, revolution of some sort of industrial type.
Right.
But I'm like, if he was to write that book again, it would be Guns, Germs, Steel, Computer. Because tech is one of those innovations, and not just industrial technology, tech is one of those innovations that levels the playing field.
Right.
And so picture a society where, yes, business A wants to sell you a thing, but now they have to care about what you think. Not tell you what you think, not listen to your phones and figure out what you've been thinking. Right. It has to wait for you to say it because the AI evens it out. It'll say, Lex doesn't care about any of the things you're selling, but he does need these three things. Can you provide them? And at what price?
Right.
So Lex, and you have an advocate, a representative, all of these things so that you can do the things that you need to do. And to your point, I love to research technology. I love what they call archaic technology. I thought very seriously about getting a JVC tattoo because JVC versus Sony was the greatest technological battle from before we were born that nobody cares about. Because I'm like, if you've ever cared about a cassette tape, a DVD, a Betamax, or a VHS, if you didn't care about any of that, that was all JVC versus Sony, and we were all along for the ride. We know right up to HD DVD versus Blu-ray, it never went away. But people don't get lazier. So like right around the 60s, and I'm at the risk of being a little bit controversial, for a segment of the population, it mattered that they worked less. So up until the 50s and 60s, it really got to be a good hard day's work when you're exhausted and you don't have time for hobbies is how you are an adult.
Right.
When technology caught up, it basically said, well, the wife doesn't have to hate you. She can actually like you if she can bake bread and you don't have to buy an ice cube for the fridge. It cools itself and it's a self-cleaning oven and you can have a 2 martini lunch. Technology got to be something that would relieve a lot of the extra stuff. But then there were people that said, wait a minute now. If you don't have to buy an ice block from the Iceman for the ice box, how Iceman gonna be out of business?
Right.
Iceman ain't gonna be out of business. Iceman just becomes refrigeration tech.
Right. Just
Like before, when they invented the telephone, they're like, people won't talk face to face anymore. I'm like, that's not true. People will still talk face to face where they have to, and every iteration of technology will do that. What I will say is, what are the pieces of information that people drop, and then do you, as your perspective, see that as being lazy? So like, I'm old enough to remember having to know the emergency phone numbers. I gotta know my grandmother's number. I gotta know my number if the police ask me. I gotta know one adult that I trust, and then maybe like I keep calling the Nintendo Power Hotline because I need them cheat codes. So those are the numbers I remember. Now you'll find youth that like they don't remember any numbers because technology has made it so the address book is there. Is that laziness, or did a machine take over a task that you no longer need?
Okay.
So that's where that turns. I'm not saying one is wrong or right. I'm saying that's the fulcrum on which that idea turns.
So in addition to that, I would like to talk, because it sounds like there's a desire for harmony, and I understand that, right? Yeah. But at the moment, there is still a divide in my mind saying that you're either for or against, only because
still on task.
Quite literally, because now even with the avatar in the back of your head. All right, kind of like assembling your schedules, or like, making sure that you are on point to get to whatever goal you need to. Right, you decide to do a cheat day, you have that on the schedule, but one day you decide to take it an additional cheat day for a week, as an example. Right, it will say, well, that's not on the schedule right now. You should probably move on and on. And I understand. Ideally, in the perfect world, it will probably learn from your schedule, saying, oh, you just added it to the schedule. But when does it become something like, oh, it's not just learning to be you, it is telling you that you are either doing better or less than what you ought to do in the back of your own mind. When does it become
anxiety?
When does tech become anxiety? I mean, when does it become kind of like your less of your guidance than more of your leader?
So that's an important internal conversation. So this actually lands more on the psych side. Yeah. Because a lot of times you have to ask yourself, are you being real with one, who you are now?
Right.
Two, who you want to be, but the more important part, why? Why do you want to be? Because that's going to inform the distance between those two things.
Right.
So right now, my ideal bed would probably give, I'm just going to throw a random number out, 15% of the population insane anxiety. There is a version of the Sleep Number bed that has its own AI. And it is $17,000, so clearly I ain't got it. But what it does is it not only heats and cools both sides, makes sides harder, softer based on who's in it. It inclines the head and the feet, all that stuff. It tracks your body, and after 5 nights, it immediately softens and temps to what you always want. So the goal is, as you move throughout the night, it will always be perfect.
And the AI is called Goldilocks.
And just right. Hashtag just right. So you're going to steal that.
Goldilocks bed.
But the deal is, it makes a profile. And so what's interesting, what makes me laugh, and what makes the deep nerds on Reddit laugh when we look at stuff like this is, it can tell profiles by like who's in your bed, if any besides you. And so like I was like, oh, you're gonna get shamed. It's gonna be like you have too many profiles or something, like all that stuff. But the part that people were really anxious about was like, it's gonna tell me how badly I sleep, but it's not gonna tell me what to do about that. And so it's like that's gonna make me sleep worse. And so in that same vein, it's if you already know who you are, like I already know who I am, I know what I want, then it can only ever tell me I might, if I was insane, programmed to be like, tell me what the best, most optimized version of myself is. It can't tell you that, but if you give it a set of parameters and say that's perfection, it will always drive towards that. You don't know that, so you can't tell that. Only the insane influencers that are like, get into your winter arc, bro, hate all women, start burying your face in ice water, and keep it moving. Like, the most perfect optimized version of yourself is when you're content. So you can't tell yourself that, you just have to get to that. And so it can only say, hey man, you didn't sleep so good last night. And then it now falls on you to say, well, I really was working really late and I should have cut it off when I should have cut it off and unwound. Like that's something you have to have with yourself. So it will always say to you, hey man, you said you want this done by the 14th. Okay. You've taken off 3 days. It's looking like you might not make that target. But do you need the 3 days is my question. If you and yourself say, I needed those though, I was really burning out, then now you know that the 14th was an unreasonable goal that you told it. Now you say, hey, I need to push that out to the 25th because I realized that I'm burning out and I need 1 weekend a month. You can adjust with it.
I think for me personally, I landed if I'm spending $17,000 for a bed or paying it off every month, I wouldn't be able to sleep in the first place. So $17,000 for insomnia, I don't know if that's a good deal. And so
hate to just stand in the corner and stare at it. I got double shifts and I'm not sleeping.
I gotta earn my sleep.
As a technophile, I realize how egregious it's like. The bed I'm sleeping in now was like $5,000, and some people were like, no, but I had crazy acid reflux. So I needed the incline, and that king size bed has boxed me out of more apartments in Troy. And like I literally go in there, I have measurements, I know what it in 2 nightstands is, and as soon as I go, nope, all right, we're done here. I haven't seen the kitchen, anything. I'm like, we're already done.
Well, for our audience, if they're looking to help us sleep better at night, please like, subscribe, and share, and hit all the buttons.
That's correct.
I always try to do a good transition.
Your segue game is like segue food. Like
oh my goodness. Give him a hand for that.
I just watched a master at work. He was like, yeah, you will never segue from where I come. You won't see the segue coming.
That's very good. That's good.
Thank you so much. Oh, that was really cool because it's like I do really appreciate having a more nuanced conversation with AI because I do think we get, especially with any type of new technology, whether it's AI or not, and you see it like in history of like, it gets, when something gets dropped, especially something that significantly changes any type of society stuff, it gets scary first. It's like, hey, it's having this much of an impact. And I think I always kind of connected to weaponry, which sounds savage.
A possibility?
Not that, but more like, it's one of those things, it's still a tool. It's still just a tool. It's like how you use it and what it's used for, and or maybe even say cooking, but it's like, it doesn't have an innate, like, the tool itself doesn't have an innate power to it. It's how it's used and what it's being used by. A weird connection. I think the one reason why AI feels so terrifying is because it's mainly powered by and used by and driven by capitalists, because it's for capital. But capitalism in itself is dangerous, like in the way itself is safe. So we're seeing that reception of it. And then it's trained on things like AI art. And AI art, or AI, I think, quote-unquote, doing art, or manufacturing art, or helping in of itself to me isn't bad, but it's the fact that it's stealing from artists, or at least it has access to a lot of artists and things that people don't give permission to. And now that people are using that, and that's using it to sell money, someone can look at something like, hey, this is how I draw, this is my style, it's somehow gotten to the files, it's somehow gotten to my data without knowing it, and that's the dangerous part about it.
Yeah.
But then, at the same time, I think we get in a spot with what I've seen a lot, is like a lot of people are, hey, let's stop this now, and that's not how you stop technology. It usually takes regulations, usually it takes shifting society, shifting the public. You have to learn how it gets integrated. And I just like having more of a nuanced topic, because one of the things that I think I use AI for, because there's so much different iterations. I use Gemini on my phone, and for me, like I said, with ADHD, it actually helps me out a lot, because in the back of my mind, I'm always talking to myself. And now I can talk to myself and kind of get immediate results. Now I can talk to myself like, hey, I want to, instead of me like, everyone's like, hey, make a list. This is how you get more organized. I'm like, I'm great, but then I'll forget to make the list. Making a list when you have it is just hard, but now I can be like, hey, I know I have an objective to go, so let me tell AI to help me make my grocery list. It does it for me immediately, and now I have that immediately. It can be used that way, and I'm not using it for, and I think that's like the nuanced conversation where it's like we have to figure out what it's best to use and how much harm it can do, and then aim it away from that, and then just like any other tool, or even like with money, see what it's the best at, make sure it stays in that territory, stays in that pocket. Anything else that is dangerous, make sure it has restrictions, regulations, propriety, all that kind of stuff. And that's the thing we don't trust. So all it goes back down to, we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust, I don't think we trust.
I mean, overall, our track record is hard to defend.
Yeah.
as persons on Earth.
But there
as
you
a
go.
people. As a person.
But listen, we got Dexter. We talking about AI, and I could do this forever.
I'll come back.
Because I don't even want to stop.
Yes.
I don't want to stop of the AI. I don't want to stop the AI conversation, but I also want to make sure you have room to drive other places, because we're in the mind of Dexter, and so we're enjoying this.
Don't trip on anything.
So I don't want to stop it, but I want to make sure we get more in about him.
Well, if that's the case, what I want to do for yourself and also for the audience, something that's really cool, and this is, I'm not sure if it's behind the scenes, but this is what we've been talking about, and I'm excited that we're doing this point in various fields where, to me, the main reason why we're doing this is to connect, introduce, and be more part of the community. Allow this stuff for, that you'll see on YouTube, like just us for 3 years doing that type of stuff, but it's very intentional for us to be like, hey, we wanted to get good at this first. You wanted to make sure we have the dynamic, it built the way we want to, things like that. And slowly you'll see, as people in the audience, more guests popping up, coming in. And as one of the things I'm excited to have you on for is that we can talk to you about anything. And the thing that we talked about earlier that I guess stuck to me is that this is a very YouTube thing. I might be able to get into this. Is I feel like I have only one. I'm going to proclaim it as this concept of enemy in terms of like what I'm seeing on YouTube or seeing in like algorithms and stuff. Is manosphere stuff, incel stuff, all that jazz. And I know you talked a lot about the passion of being a girl dad. And I think that's something that I honestly don't see advocated enough a lot. And I'm bringing it to the community thing as like, we can have you talk about anything and everything, but just as someone in the community, I've heard you talk about it outside of various fields, outside of our conversations, that kind of thing. I'm like, I want to get somebody who just is passionate about that. And I just want to know, starting from the term, what does being a girl dad mean to you? If you had to give it as a topic to our audience members, why do you define it as girl dad? I just want to start there.
So I think it cuts right to, and it's going to tie the idea of the manosphere and all that together really well. It all conceptualizes for me where the idea of what manhood is, right? And there's a lot of there's a lot of things that will steer it towards toxicity. And being primarily raised by my mom, I will say what drives it is running towards your daughters as opposed to running from them, as though raising them was someone else's job. And I'll tell you where that comes from. The idea, I had an idea a long time ago that I was only going to be in psychology because I wanted mental health, especially in the Black community, to kind of take center stage.
Right.
And a lot of the first stage toxicity that shatters your innocence when you're a child, I think it's unnecessary, but it's a protective mechanism. So my whole thing was, I wrote 5 chapters, it was going to be my thesis, and then it was going to be a book, and it was called If the World Wanted Men to Be Civilized, There Would Be Toilet Paper by the Urinal. And the idea behind it was, we were raising our boys to have no access to their feelings. We were raising our girls to be like, you have all the access to your feelings, but they're only valid if a man says they are. And so it's, little girl trips and falls, she cries, she scrapes her knee. Some daddy will come and scoop you up, I have you. You're good because I have you. With little boy, hey, walk it off, rub some dirt on it. Nobody has you. Matter of fact, why are you crying? Both of those ideas on your face seem like they would be okay, but it gives you no access. When does that happen? And it doesn't matter, gender identity, sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. At some point, you are going to be standing across from somebody that you care about. they're going to be having an emotional response, and you won't have the data to interact with it or support them in any way. You won't know that you didn't have it till it happens, and it starts this ticking clock, especially in men, where it's like, I don't ever want to feel like this again. And the paths that you choose off of that is like fruit from the poisonous tree. You either become emotionally inaccessible yourself,
Right.
you are the man's man, so you don't really support your partner, and so it's like, come on now, you already know we're good. It's all of that stuff because you didn't get what you needed. When you accept like the girl dad moniker, it's not trying to make your girl your son. It's not making sure that you are somehow less masculine. It's seeing your children is the key, and it doesn't actually matter what their gender is, but that's the movement that kind of got started online. It's seeing your daughter for who she is, what are her interests, and getting into it 100%, and having that have no definition of what masculinity means to you. If she's painting your nails tonight because it makes her happy, you having painted nails is immaterial.
Right.
It's you are the dad that she needs. So a lot of times we try to parent backwards. We're like, I'm gonna be the adult that I didn't have, which is a good 50% standpoint. I say the other half is take the time to be able to catch it and see the adult they need now, as opposed to her having to grow up and say, I'm gonna be the adult I needed. Right. Because that's really that whole girl dad movement, and it ties that idea together. I will say on the topic of the manosphere, and that's a whole other thing we get into. My mother, of all people, said one thing to me, and if I could pass this on, I would pass it on long into my death. It changed my life. I wrote a poem for this young lady when I was in 5th grade. And it's when, emotions and feelings and all that, hormones start. And I didn't really conceptualize how I felt, but I knew it was important that she read it, but I was terrified for her to read it. So I asked my mom, I'm like, I wrote this poem. And I don't want to give it to her because I can't take the rejection. I didn't have the words to say I can't take the rejection, but that was it. I could not stand the rejection, the idea. And being a police officer who I'm sure has arrested many people who were on the verge or seen many bodies that were the result of people not handling rejection well, she said, if I flip a coin 100 times, how many will be heads? And I'm like, well, theoretically, 50. And she says, okay, so that means how many are tails? I'm like, 50. She said, people aren't coins, so you're not going to get a fair deal, but here's what you need to know. The coin still exists. No is an answer just like yes. If you walk into the situation, it's okay to want yes if you're prepared for no. She said, that's the cost of yes. You buy the yes by being prepared for no. It changed my whole outlook.
I love that.
There was no woman I couldn't walk up to and talk to. There was no job I couldn't ask for. Like, I could see 12 qualifications, know I had 11, still walk into there cold because I'm going to learn the number. I'm going to learn number 12. I'm a fast learner. I'll learn number 12. So it changed my whole life. Those not having that in you, plus not having access to the emotion, is how Andrew Tate preys on you. It's how you fall out of society and into the manosphere. Because it's based on you not having that access to your own emotions. So now I get to tell you who you are. And you can't take rejection because it's the worst thing you've ever heard, no matter what kind of rejection it is. But they accept you 100% because they told you who you are. That's the key right there. That's how they won.
Dex, I'm getting excited. This is there's so much. All right, sorry. That was such a passionate take, and I'm so happy to have
that lives in the core of me. Like
I can feel it. By the way.
I would push that as long as I live, and then beyond if I could.
So just allow me to play a devil's advocate because it's a wonderful message. So how do
Give
you
yourself more credit, because devil's advocate is a position of bad faith. You are producing an intelligent counterpoint.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Give yourself way more credit.
Now he's preaching too.
Okay, fair enough. So how do you go from that mentality of because I feel as if there's a good portion of people who kind of learn to prepare for the worst outcome, give or take. And if it's not just a yes/no situation, it is a not right now, or like wait on it, like Aaron Burr, wait for it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, how do you not prepare a mentality of becoming more readily accepting of rejections and more, I guess, I guess quite literally just accepting of negative things in your life. You're like, oh, it's fine, right? How do you avoid those pitfalls of just saying like, well, this is my life now. I'll deal with the good when it comes, right? And like just accept anything and just keep walking it off, because a lot of people kind of become like kind of lead the stoic mentality of like, if it is meant for me, it's meant for me, right? And I will divert, avoid, and just follow a path that's more easily acceptable based on the level of exception and rejection that I had in my life. So how do you go there?
So what I tell people and what I practice for myself is there are a few levels, and you know, outside of, and we'll put anything mental difference, neurodivergence, any of that, we'll put that right on the side because it's valid, but it's a variable that changes what I'm saying.
Right.
I think we have to get behind the platitudes. When one door closes, another one opens. Well, it's not my time, and when it's meant for me, it's meant for me. Those all have their roots in very good wisdom, but it's a platitude, so it's thin. I think the real work, and I call it work because it takes effort, but it doesn't mean it's not worth it. The real work is in what is your happiness. So let's say it's a job. It's a job that I really want. It's a job that I think was tailor-made for me, in fact. That's how confident I am. All of the stones leading up to having that thought should set me up so that if I don't get this job, I'm able to get feedback and say, okay, if you don't mind my asking, what made you go with a different candidate? It might have nothing to do with me. It might be if I could take you all I would, and my budget just got cut. The new administration ain't funding me. Stuff I could never see. But I won't make it about me because I'll be like, I know I'm right for this. It feels right. It's what I want. If it's not here, it'll be the next place. Just because it's what I'm going to keep doing, right? It's where I'm going to keep going. And you can take the feedback. You can be like, hey, listen. It might just be like, hey, man, your interview ran an hour long because you kept talking about stuff that wasn't answering our questions. So that means that mentally, I'm just not organized enough when I go in there. And that's something I can work on. I can have my notes. I once didn't get a job because I interviewed them back too much, which told me that they weren't going to be a good environment for me because they felt like they were above questioning. One of the most simple interview questions that you can ask your interviewer is, why did the last person leave? If you don't know, then why didn't you talk to them? Did they just flee the scene? Like, so I'll say, okay, how long and that's another question I'll ask, how long has the position been vacant? Do you have any insight as to why? Oh, we've been trying to fill this for 2 years. If I want the job, it can't be that heinous on its face, right? So 2 years, do you know what might have held that up? We didn't have funding in our HR department. We staffed that up first. Okay, that's an organizational job decision. Or if it's like, we just couldn't find the right fit. Are you guys super picky?
Wow.
No problem. Interview your interview.
Wait a minute. I just want to be careful that we got some people going on the interviews right now. I don't think he's advocating for you interrogating your interview.
Why don't you want me? You tell me why.
What I will say, I advocate for sure for having a set of questions that make sure that you are aligning with what makes you happy.
And you're going to be treated well.
Right. You want to be treated well. You want to know that these people don't just want a body, they want what you bring to the table. And they can't know you in just an interview. But in interviews, and this is another hot take, people say that's the worst part of the process for them. They're very anxious. That's my favorite part.
Wow.
I don't have control of how you're going to interpret my resume. I don't have control of whether or not my cover letter is perfect for you. I may think I wrote a good one, but I don't know if it's perfect for you. Me selling myself and talking about why I walked through the door is the only control I have in the process. I can't even control what you're going to respond to when I do it, but I feel so good when I get to sit there and say, hey man, I really have a vision for what I can do to enhance this. I really have a vision for how I fit in your space. I saw that you did this, and this because I did my research, and I just know that had you done this platform, it might have went really well. And then someone might say, well, we didn't go with that because this was so expensive, we couldn't afford it. But we didn't know this existed at the time. We can start having that conversation. It's almost like I live here already, I'm moving in. But I want you to see me, what you would be getting, as much as I can show you, also why I'm passionate about it. But in that process, I need to know that I'm supported, right? So if the last person you did do an exit interview and you did talk to them and they said, I just felt like I never got the resources I needed to be successful, then my follow-up question on that is, how did you feel about that? when they said that.
Right.
Well, we've made changes since then. We made a separate 303 is now the account attached to that. It has its own revenue stream that we look at every year, and now we don't want that to happen again.
Right.
They realized they lost a quality person for an organizational change. They made the change. That sounds like somebody I want to be with.
Right.
But if they don't know any of that data, if they haven't involved themselves in any of that, on the one hand you can say, all right, maybe you're just HR and you don't have access to stuff like that. But I'm also asking, okay, so that means is your organization siloed? So do the departments not talk to each other because they all affect each other?
Right.
Now it falls back on me. I have to ask myself, is that something I can deal with? My department may be siloed away from everything and I can't communicate.
Make sure the job's not stacked against you, or that you just go in with your own advocacy.
That's an amazing position. I love the fact of what you're saying. And the thing I'm hearing about what you're saying and I'm taking away is your level of self-confidence in terms of being confident to speak. I think you mentioned your mom being very influential in your life, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that would be scared to death to take that turn in an interview. So maybe you could speak to me about, and to the audience, about self-confidence, how to be an advocate for yourself when you're afraid to do so.
I think the first thing I always tell people, and again, this is all, even when I talk about relationships, the relationship with yourself is very important. There's a difference between work and effort, right? And so I always tell people, if you're in a relationship that feels like it's work all the time and not good work, that's probably not the right relationship for you. Even if it's with yourself, you're just approaching it wrong.
Right.
It's okay to have effort. It's okay to do that work that I call it, or good work, is putting in the effort to get the results you want. When you start from the question like that, I say, okay, let's definitely go to the fear first. Run towards the fear first. Right? So let's say, why am I afraid? Well, I don't want to hear that I'm doing badly. I don't want to hear that I sound stupid. Okay, get right inside that. Have you ever said a thing that was true and still felt rejected? What does sound stupid mean? And why do you feel that way? And you can do this by yourself, do it with your therapist.
Right.
I advocate highly for therapy. But you'll get inside of the thing that is your, people say triggers, but not everybody's always triggered. Sometimes it's just activated. Your nervous system reacts to the feeling.
Right.
If you get inside the fear part, then that's going to be where you live. Because what happens is what you build on is this self-confidence matrix where it's based on things you know. It's based on empirical fact. You put that shirt on today, I know you didn't question that it was Nightwing. You knew it.
Oh, absolutely.
You didn't. There wasn't a moment where somebody could have talked you out of it. That's not Nightwing. Like, no one's going to gaslight you. That's what it is in yourself. You build these bricks that are unquestionable because you know. And you know and you accept them and you want them there. And so what happens is the fear part starts to come down. I feel like it's okay to be anxious about a thing. A little bit of anxiety means you care. Stage fright, that means it has stakes. There's weight. And that's okay. But that inability to advocate for yourself because you don't want to hear the feedback or the blowback, or you think it's just going to go left, what does left mean? Get into what the worst case scenario is, because I guarantee you it won't matter compared to the best case scenario. That's like saying, because divorce exists, why get married? That's a nihilistic take if you look at it. It's like, no, sure, it exists. That's the worst case scenario. But what's the best case scenario? I'm with a person who makes me feel like my life has enhanced itself times 2. I'm building with somebody that understands me empirically. Like, oh, that sounds terrible. You have to get inside that. And I'm not saying it's easy. It is effort. It is the good work. But it's worth it, because what happens is I'm walking through the door with a product that I know might not be right for you. I'm hoping it is. I wouldn't have applied if I thought it was going to fail.
Right.
But I'm comfortable if it's not, because that's better for us both. That I'm not in the wrong place. I'm still serving me to not work at the job that doesn't serve me. Kind of thing. And I'm serving you too, because I'll be in your way. I'm not who you want. I'm not the cog in your machine. So that's where the confidence lives. Getting inside who you are, loving those parts, which might be its own work, right? Because we can be taught to hate ourselves on a bunch of levels, from a bunch of sources. Get inside loving those parts, loving that whole, building that thing, and then whether it's just your pursuits, your employment, your social circles, everything you do should be adding to those bricks. Like me doing this puts back into me just like I'm putting out. Like just being in this room, having these conversations, it's so validating for me. It feels so good because I'm able to share these intelligent thoughts. I don't feel judged. I wouldn't have worried about it if I was. They would just tell me who you are. I'm like, and I can have that conversation. I can sit down with the op and be like, that feels adversarial. The first thing I say is, who taught you to feel that way? Like if I'm saying love amongst men, I'm saying black love and that, and it activates you.
Right.
Then I would ask you who taught you that. Right. So I would still walk into the room. I'd be like, well, they were a little judgy.
Right.
But that just makes me sad. I wish you hadn't been taught.
Right.
So all these things pour back in. So I will always pursue things and go to things that also add to those bricks. That's why you're confident. It's not something that you have to let me get it ready. It's already there. Right? And so it's easy to advocate because it's like saying the sky is blue. You're just stating the facts. I'm here because I think I'm right. This is why I think I'm right for your job. This is who I am. And then they have every opportunity to be like, not what we're looking for. And that's okay. And that's okay. Like, hey, you know what? Thank you for the time. I don't want to be where I'm not right either. We agree. Thank you. And then you move on. And that's the difference. Whereas people, it's a justice scale for people. And they'll be like, if I don't get this, then I am now somehow lesser. I am somehow worse. I have somehow failed. And I'm like, that architecture is bad. You got to get all the way back down to the foundation and be like, how did you build this? Because that's like walking in with a house of cards. If my confidence in all of that is based on the next opinion, how could you get anything done? Like making the phone call for the interview will be the scariest thing you ever did. Much less going into it if you haven't built those bricks up.
Wow.
So that's really
good.
I have one minor regret because every single time we post these videos on YouTube, there's always a question of whether or not this video is made for kids or not. All right. The reason why I have a regret for that is because normally, there's already an algorithm in place to say, let's put this in the forefront within a certain age group. Right. This would be completely ideal for those that are in high school, I would imagine. That way they can work on it earlier before the foundation is set too late, like in their 20s and 30s, when you become who you are. You know what I mean? So my question is, because again, there's a lot of different avenues, right? And you advocate for therapy. How did you walk down the path to find the foundation within yourself, right, to build upon it properly? Or how did you find the proper foundation to build upon?
One of the reasons why I like to get into the community in different places is it does take another adult. So like in the South Bronx, it was the barbershop, right? The barbershop was kind of like that kiln, where you could sharpen a bunch of things about yourself.
Indeed.
But his actually was a man named Leslie, which is probably where a lot of his confidence came from. But he owned the barbershop, and one of the first things he would do with young men is take them in and give them like something to do. He would let you sweep, but he wanted you to hang around other older black men.
Yes.
Who are gonna have some toxic takes. Don't let me, I'm not trying to lionize it.
Absolutely.
They're gonna have some toxic takes, but it was also like, young brother, this is your opportunity to hold your own. Right? So his thing was, and he's, other than my actual mother and father, probably a lot of responsible for how I am today. His thing was, all that fighting and stabbing and shooting is too permanent. What's the point of winning if you can't win again and then pick somebody else and help them win? He encouraged what we call then the dozens, like your mama jokes. And so his thing was, what you're trying to do is, the chess beating is just trying to get that jockeying for position, that cooking, that roasting, right? I mean, if you ever watch Roll Bounce, there's a lot of that in it. The deal was then, it would be, we would call it the rule of three. You get in, you get 3 rules, 3 things that you can say are untouchable. Other than if it's not one of those 3, it's a free for all. The first person to get mad loses, and then it's squashed. Everybody knows you lost. That's it. And it helped your mental acuity. We became quicker. You knew more people. You got to be just out there, and it basically helped you start building that confidence. I know I'm good at this. I know I'm like, hey man, your mom's so big she jumped up in the air and got stuck. You got a crazy laugh, right? You're like, and all that stuff builds. Why I love downtown Troy is I see a lot of black men getting out in the community and they're doing different things. Albany Troy Black Film Club, Collective Effort, Kickback Studios. Exactly. These kids have an opportunity to run into black men that can start that foundation. So the best thing that I feel like we can do is just get out there. Get out there and be standing there when that kid is like, I don't have the confidence to go over there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can sit down and be like, well, why?
Yeah.
You know, hey, this is what worked for me. Hey, man, no is the answer just like yes.
Yeah.
Like someone say it,
Right.
like someone be there to say it. That's the best thing you can do.
Mm.
It's that intervention in that way to kind of like interrupt that cycle. Because otherwise, again, what are the bricks built on? Think about the idea of catcalling in and of itself. Like, how did that exist?
Right.
Nobody catcalls with the idea that will attract a mate.
Right.
Like, really look at it on its face.
Yeah.
You do it because it proves to your boys that you don't care what she thinks.
Right.
Because you don't have the feelings to handle the real rejection of,
Right.
hey, my name is Dex, I would love to take you out for a cup of coffee. You're beautiful.
Right.
And be able to say, hey, I have a boyfriend, thank you, but no.
Right.
And be okay with that. Like, your boys not cook you, they could cook you a little bit, like, oh man, that didn't work. And I'll be like, yeah, next time.
Yeah.
Right.
But that not destroy you in what you think is your identity in this circle.
Right.
Think about all the levels of everything we've said leading into that.
Yeah.
See, it's a simple idea, but people don't realize they all come back to that same foundation.
Yes.
You could point that out in society over and over again,
Right.
and it keeps coming back to that foundation. Because if I'm comfortable in myself, then the boys that are around me are also not the type to try and destroy me.
Exactly.
Right? That's why that's my circle. They could still be like, wow, man, crash and burn. I'm like, you win some, you lose some.
Right.
She already got a man. Clearly, I'm not the only one that saw what I saw just now. You know, then that now spin it on its head. Think about a concept like jealousy.
Right.
What if you're with a person that's like, he's tried to talk to me. What are you gonna do about it?
Right.
I'm sorry, you're not invisible.
Right.
Was he disrespectful?
Right.
No, he tried to talk to me. What are you gonna do about it? Her identity is now based on, are you aggressive? Are you violent? Her idea of what masculinity is defined by that. You've chosen the wrong mate. This is, again, what are her bricks that are built up?
Right.
Like, I think a man that would fight him for that is the idea of I'm protected.
Yeah.
It's a false idea. How many men have landed in jail behind that concept?
Right.
Like, so it's not her fault. It's who built the bricks.
Right.
So now it's like, okay, wait. These things all seem to come backwards to that point. Being a kid that was different, like I told you, that early stage toxicity that pops your bubble of innocence.
Yes.
The first time somebody popped the bubble of innocence for me, I was reading a Green Lantern comic, sitting on the stoop in the South Bronx. And a girl walked by, and I wasn't into girls at the time yet. A girl rode by on her bike and was like, "You read? That's kind of gay."
Wow.
Look at the leap between literacy and homosexuality. They're not even in the same room.
Yeah, right.
She was also young, so like,
Right.
who taught her that?
Right.
But it was like, oh wow, so you read and that's problematic.
Right.
That already, again, I was like, I didn't know you could be rejected for that. Like,
Right.
but it didn't. I was like, I love reading, and I'm not gonna stop. So already, I guess we had to figure something out. And as you grow up and you're comfortable being different, you're comfortable being eclectic, you're comfortable having those conversations that the men in other houses won't have. It becomes a thing where the right people find you. Like, my friends that have been my friends for life were all the guys that internally wanted to say the things I wasn't saying. Maybe one or two were saying it externally, but they were always considered the outlier. And so it's like, why be the outlier? Why not be the example? Why not be like, hey, it's okay to think that girls are right about this and listen to them.
Right.
Like, it's okay to, it doesn't make you, meanwhile, the OG is like, nah, man, you can't let them lead you around by the nose.
Don't point at me.
You're like, OG, that's why you single. Listen, if you in the barbershop single right now, because, and so, but I think you need all of the tapestry, right? I would have never delete the OGs from that equation because, like Sherlock Holmes and Watson, if you don't tell me what wrong is, how am I going to know what right is? Because even then I would challenge you. I'm like, OG, you single here in the barbershop.
Wow.
But that can't be where I could have been your daddy, but your mom was too good for me. Why was she too good for you? Who were you? You're telling me all the data I need to know not to be you. But in a way where they're trying to build your confidence.
Well, listen, let's get to that, because we talk a great deal about cultural conditioning here. And unfortunately, in the zeitgeist now, in the Black community, there's a repeated phrase, a couple of things. I want to touch on the concept of Black fatigue, but I also want to kind of go back into, there's a conversation going out there in the world that African American males have a great toxicity. But I'm one to believe that if we continue to perpetuate those kind of things, we become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You represent to me that which is good. You're a positive influence. So what do you say to those that will try to bring you statistics and say, this is why African American men are not? But we here at various fields, we try to bring a position of what we are and try to prepare. So what's your position on that? I might have given you a lot to chew on.
There's a lot there, and there's a lot of angles I could take it from. One, I never buy the stats. But two, and this brings it full circle to the whole trust thing, is always ask who taught you that, right? There is, and the data is not only empirical, you can actually just walk up and read it. City planning is an act of will, right? So how do you build a ghetto? You build them on purpose. Right. You make the highways narrow. You make sure that the buses don't go to good parts. This is all stuff that, people talk to you about the Van Wyck Expressway and all that. You talk about what you put in an area for real estate. You starve an area of resources and you make crime a legitimate occupation at that point. You make sure there's no education. These things are not accidents. Right. I always tell people city planning is your first opportunity to watch racism in action. It's systemic for a reason. Because you had to build a system. Right. And so when people bring me numbers like that, then I'm like, oh, how many colleges are in that neighborhood? And what's the median income? Right. Because what you're not going to tell me is, nobody there can get a job. Nobody there has a job. So the people that rob, this is what it is, and it's because they're black. Right. No, you've made it so that a segment of the population has to live in that way. It wouldn't matter their color, because there are plenty of neighborhoods where no black people exist that are exactly like that, because the common denominator is a lack of education and a lack of funding. So that doesn't make me feel any kind of way. What I will say is, and this is the loud part that people won't talk about, is when you have a group of people that are marginalized and everything is taken from them early, they cling to anything to be the shield, the thing that we can stand on, right? So if you say that, hey, listen, this hood is the toughest hood, this is our block, this is what we do, and then you start to tell people what is and isn't black. Right. It's because you want that system of belonging, you want that phalanx, but it's because you're just trying to protect, because everything is taken. Right. People will be down on like black exploitation movies like The Shaft and stuff like that, but look at the pride that went into those movies. Every leather jacket was oiled. Every fro was high. Like you're talking about politics, man. There was a comb in every head. Everybody's car was big. And it was that idea of like, we made these movies and we can look down on them because it's like, why is it pimping? Why is it crime? Like, why is this? It's like, no, they're getting money, and then these are people that feel successful. So that's what you're struggling towards. I think the way you break the conversation in half is to say, in our own community, being able to look each other in the eye and be like, it's okay to be proud of that gay black lawyer son you have, and take the gay part out of it, and that's just your black lawyer son. Right? That if that equal embrace is there, you don't get men on the down low. You don't get a lot of the toxic lines that you get. You don't get a lot of they're feminizing us. No, they're not. There is no they. First of all, the goal is there's more than one way to be any person, and there are plenty of men that love men that I wouldn't fight one-on-one right now. That are just absolutely dangerous people. But so that has nothing to do with it. If that's the case, then one doesn't have anything to do with the other. Exactly. It's that acceptance piece. It's what we're building on. I think when we build on things that make us not a monolith and make us acceptable to each other first, then I think that conversation will disappear. Because it just basically gives other cultures exit hatches, right? And it's, you get the same thing. I mean, one of the things that I like, it's toxic, but I like to talk about it, is when you get to clown other people's food and be like, it doesn't have any seasoning. Right. That's funny to me, but realistically, in my mind, I'm like, no, they just have a different flavor palette. Because I've been to India, too hot for me. Been to Jamaica, too hot for me. Still like, and so, but the food's delicious. But I was just like, oh no, I'm cooking. And I just a different flavor palette. It's funny on its face to have a joke, but then realistically, do you just say, no, they just have a different flavor palette, and that's okay. And just be okay with both of those things. I think especially when it comes to the black community, for men, and I don't want to speak for women, so maybe on their side it probably exists too. I've talked to a lot of women about it. The masculinity, the identity, it's never in our hands first. It's always, hey man, that ain't black enough.
Right.
Hey man, that ain't man enough.
Right.
Think about it in terms of even when I love women, I love to have relationships, I don't mind dating. Even when you're having those conversations, I've had arguments. What should have been a first date turned right into an argument, so you know it's not going to be a second. But it's a good conversation to have, though, too.
Right.
Where it's like, how come you're comfortable telling me that you experimented with women in college, and I'm still supposed to believe that you're straight? Which I do, because you said you are. I believe what you tell me. But if I were to say that backwards, you would not believe I was straight. What are the allowances for blackness? What are the allowances for masculinity? These are the deeper conversations to have.
Wow.
You know, there was a time when, because we don't want to be perceived as weak culturally, you will have a man that you know is not safe to have around children. You can go, that's Uncle Willie, just don't leave the kids with him. No, Uncle Willie's supposed to be in jail or therapy. But instead it's don't leave the kids with him because you don't want them to know that you have one of those in your family. But it's not about that. It's about, hey, he need help.
Right.
And if you don't want to get it, he need jail.
Right.
But not subject your children to, hey, listen, as long as we watch him, he's fine.
Don't hide it.
Like, it's the hiding. It's all of these things are like a wheel, and you can go to any spoke of it, but the hub is that acceptance piece. It's when we say to ourselves, we're comfortable being like, hey, listen, sometimes we have people in the community that are divergent and they need help and they need guidance. Therapy's okay. No, that perceived weakness that you can't have is when you get secular and then you start to build that toxicity in.
Wow.
Stagnant water is undrinkable. Same thing.
Wow.
It doesn't move, and then you make the rules, and the rules are insane as you keep going. And so it's breaking that apart immediately. People can doubt it, but I walk into rooms, I'm like, I'm just as black and just as masculine.
Right.
If my daughter did paint my nails right now,
That's
it didn't
right.
change anything about me. And so that all of that is circular. That confidence, that acceptance, all of that will break that conversation in half.
Wow. Let's give him a hand right here. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been here. We have how many minutes spare?
Yeah, we have
We got 3 minutes. Oh my gosh.
We have
Man.
so much.
There's so much to say. Well, listen.
We'll have a part 2.
We'll have part 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna say this publicly. Normally we have a business meeting before we discuss. But I'm gonna tell you, we've been at various fields, been trying to make sure that our brand shows myself and my 2 sons here all the time. And we've always talked about, well, in the future one day, if one of us are out, you know, maybe we can have someone sit in our stead. I personally will say that if we ever get to that point, well, we will. I'm gonna say you are definitely I'd feel very comfortable for you to stand in either one of us if we're not at the table when we get to that portion. But
I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a good timekeeper, so I can't be you. Gotta be
fantastic. So let's get ready to close it out.
Absolutely.
How do we do it?
Again, so much to talk about. I wish we were able to deep dive into what AI is, even with these breaking down what acceptances are and how to rebuild a community and all that. Like, I just imagine an AI that works with you in the community to tell you the pros and cons of being with a significant person, right? And having those two AIs talk to one another and then build.
That would be amazing. That's literally it.
But again, I'm still talking. There's an issue with me in giving certain levels of autonomy away. So it's all about like what is building the community, whether it is a nature, a nurture, or a beep boop. I don't even know. Right? Right? But that's just me. We can definitely dive back in on part 3 if there's a part 2. I have to be a third. But that's my takeaway. Go ahead.
Dex, I'm just so happy to have you on the Various Fields podcast. As we've always said, you're going to definitely be on more and more and time again, and this is also, I feel bad doing it this way, but I just want to use this example to what we want to do with Various Fields, because it's cool to come to you just as a community member and then say, hey, these are the people that we have in our community, your takes, your representation, how important it is to you, and just to show like, hey, this is matter, this is real, and we exist. The fact that it just oozes out of you makes me so happy.
That's right.
This is Dex, and we're on Various Fields as a member of our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Dex, I'm gonna let you say the last couple of seconds. We're gonna do our closeout. Is there any one thing that you want to say to close out to the people that might be on your heart and mind?
I would say choose yourself, and when you choose yourself, choose it from a position of love. Choose love always. Fall in love with yourself, with other people, and do it loudly, because hate never turns itself down. The people that are angry and hateful don't ever do it in whispers. They're loud about it. Be just as loud.
Beautiful.
Lex, I'm gonna let you, because your friend was here, I want you to land us and take us out of here.
Everybody, you heard it here first from Dex. We're here. We're happy to have you, and then please join us again on the next episode of Community Conversations with Various Fields, and we'll see you in the future. I'm Lex.
I'm Trey.
I'm Hazen Fields II.
I'm Dex.
All right.
This is Various Fields.
Thank you for
See you on
being
the
here.
next one.
See you later on.